You can get it, the life and the times and the story of Caster Semenya. There's also a leadership aspect that I'm picking up from you. What about Minister of Sport?
Maybe one day, probably yes, because anyway, I have a BTech in sports management.
Nazon.
I have studied sports science, postgrad, diploma in that.
Nazon.
Maybe give me 5 years more.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, but maybe.
Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Caster Semenya. How does that sound?
The Honorable Caster Semenya.
Is in the building,
Love
ladies and
that
gentlemen. Another bumper weekend of rugby action.
South African hands aloft. They have come from behind and they will defend their Rugby World Cup title.
Well, let's get a bit of breaking news from World Rugby here, who've undertaken a review of allegations made by England's Tom Curry in relation to the use of discriminatory language by South Africa's Umbajeni Umbanambi.
The breaking news comes from the Rugby World Cup, and England flanker Tom Curry claims he was racially abused by the South African hooker Bongeni Mbanambi.
Former Springbok Sevens and Lions centre, Mac Masina.
It's just the support that I'm just loving, just to see all the South African people. I mean, even if people that are not even interested in rugby.
Thank you for the support to the people back home. We really do appreciate it. One more to go. Let's pull together. Let's go.
Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Oh, we've come to that time. We've come to that time. Hey, Rugby World Cup final tomorrow.
It's an ever-clear fact that rugby analysis is still stuck in the year 2015. Just one flimsy opinion against another. With no empirical evidence to back up these statements, the room dividers will change all that. Every Tuesday, Field Day 8, as Robert, Thando and Ashwin ask the hard questions on #MSW on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Yeah, do share your expectations, man. We've come to that point where it is done and dusted tomorrow. Oh 60-708-0484, 060-708-0484. What are your expectations? I mean, you've seen the build-up. Hardly anybody has spoken about the All Blacks. Hardly anybody has scrutinized the All Blacks. Hardly anyone has zoomed into that, simply because of, the obvious story that we're talking about. And hopefully we stop talking about it because, guys, I mean, we got one of the biggest games in world rugby. Two of the biggest rivals in world rugby. And I think history will be made either way. Doesn't matter who wins. Obviously hope that the Springboks do win and we make that kind of history. So right now, though, the Proteas just quickly drifting away from rugby, needing 30 runs from 69 balls as it stands. It's 241 for 6, targeting 271. So we'll tell you what happened. So don't worry if you're driving and you're trying to rush home. They need 30 from 68 balls right now. So we'll keep an eye on that while we talk all things rugby here with the room dividers. I'll go back to, was it 2007? Ashwin Willemse.
#MSW.
All right. That's the kind of tease that I'm talking about, eh? Asibafuni. Ashwin Willemse, where were you in 2007?
I was there.
What were you doing, sir?
Winning.
What is that winning feeling like? Please share.
Like a champion.
What does it feel like to host and hoist the Webb Ellis Trophy?
Madiba magic.
But Thabo Mbeki was there next to you, not
Madiba
Madiba.
magic.
Hey?
Madiba magic, Elevating a nation. I think, Rob, if ever there was a time to repeat the feat,
Yes.
it's this time.
What stands in our favor?
Everything. Team selection. Players. We talk about a team that have been there before, not when the last World Cup, the previous World Cup.
2019.
Yes, sir. Coming back to just do the same. Bring it home.
But just the glory, though, because not too many people, not too many teams, not too many generations of rugby get that privilege. And I was saying that 3 times for South Africa, 3 times for the All Blacks, and you were part of that history. And just being there where the Springboks are right now, it's almost like a replay. Jay White was, front and center of that particular movement. Was it what? I mean, give me a human sense. Final whistle, and you realize what has just happened.
I think therein lies the answer, Rob. Words fail to describe. It is an experience that as a player on the field, I think you're trying to find, you post the moment, you're seeking for that moment for the rest of your life. So imagine being a player that have been there 4 years ago. And now you're on the verge of repeating the very same feat that you did 4 years ago. I think that's like, if one were to, if anything, I think it should be like being in a position where you can experience that for the second time. I think back to back. Imagine winning it once.
Sure.
Imagine here we're sitting. Thando has been there as a Springbok. I've been there as a Springbok, and so many other Springboks. Now, there's only a very selected few that were so lucky to have ever been part of a winning World Cup squad. 95, 07, 2019. And imagine all the players that have ever played, and were so unfortunate not to have lifted that cup. So every time when we get into this situation, it's not about the 23 on the pitch. It's about every single player that has ever played before and that will most likely ever play again. It was 95 that inspired me. It was 2007 that inspired the likes of Sia, etc., etc. Now it is the likes of Sia, Cheslin, Andre Pollard, Faf, de Klerk, that is inspiring the next generation. So to be part of a moment in time where you know this is a historical moment, and you live through the experience. You can cut the tension with a knife. Every time the whistle blows and there's a penalty and we can line up.
Yeah.
This past 3 weeks, everyone was complaining about, my nerves.
No, it was too much.
Every single South African that I've encountered had the same story. Look at my nails. You guys. No, yes, please, don't do this to us again. Please, across the nation, everywhere. Rob, this weekend, tomorrow, thank goodness we're not playing tonight.
Yeah. No.
Tomorrow, we will have an opportunity where every single South African, regardless of where you are in the world, at the same time, we can sing the national anthem. Imagine that. So crazy. We as South Africans must put our hands on our chest, hold our hearts, and sing with every single part of our being so loud that hopefully the guys inside the stadium can hear us sing.
Oh, that's a World Cup winner, man. That's why I say, when we bring the room dividers together, it's to inspire. And inspire they do. And inspiration comes no different to somebody like Ashwin was saying, who's donned the jersey, who is an author. They're both authors, these gentlemen, because they've got to tell their story. They're inspiring other generations, like Ashwin has said. But he's fresh from France. Like, not too many people can go to France, come back, spend a couple of days, get on a flight again, back to France, come back. I don't know. He might be on a flight again tonight. His private jet might be parked. It might be warming up. He might be going back for the final. Anything is possible with Thando Manana.
Papa Joy.
Papa Joy. So much joy. You give me joy. Bah.
Is that an intro, Rob? Yes, that's what an intro. You look like one of those ring announcers. Are we not talking rugby?
Giving me joy.
Oh,
Hey.
no.
Welcome back, sir.
Rob, first and foremost, bonjour. As you know, I would always say to you, "Comment ça va? Ça va bien?" So
Oh, you learned 2 more words.
I've learned 2 more. I've added 2 more.
I'm proud of you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm proud of the feat that, first and foremost, thanks to Ash for those words.
Yeah.
I think, Rob, today's show must just be about so many things. I think if I look at a Kenan Moody, who's part of that group, you know, he's ready to take that baton because he knows what it is to get where they are.
Yeah.
That what says a lot. Bring it back. So the boys have been given a task. And I think where we are now, we don't have to look back. I hear what Ashwin is saying. People were eating nails, gave us a scare. That's part of a knockout competition.
Yeah.
You play up until the last second of the game. And I think we did that. And so, therefore, for me, if I look at what will happen tomorrow, we're playing one of our greatest rivalries in rugby, and that's the All Blacks. However, complacency has a way of turning things from joy to sorrow. I do hope in Rassie, in Jack, Stick, Dion Davids, Captain Sia, and the leadership group, they've managed to just move around that area. Because I think tomorrow,
What's your worry about complacency?
the Twickenham game seems to be in the air, hanging up because we trashed them 35-7.
A friendly.
It's a friendly game.
It's a warm-up game.
It's a game that didn't have Rob. It's a game that had Mapimp, who's not part of the team. It's a game that had Andre Esterhuizen, he's not in the team tomorrow. It's a game that had Kenan Moody, he's not in the team. It's a game that had Mani Lebok, he's not in the team. So I'm counting 4 of that backline. It's a game that had Malcolm Marx, who had a storm of a game.
Yeah.
He's not part of the team. So therefore, you have new people coming on board. And for me, that sort of is something that we're looking back on and saying we can repeat that feat. Remember, the All Blacks have learned from that game. In fact, it was back-to-back losses for them. They haven't lost ever since. So they've lost to France. They exactly know what we did right. They had 2 yellow cards, which, if you add it up, it became a red card for Scott Barrett. So we were always having that one edge. It happened just before the first half, by the way.
Yeah.
So the whole second half, they played with 14 men, and we were leading 14-0, but we finished off 35-7. So I think in terms of that strategy, I think they can meet us toe-to-toe in the first half. Mm-hmm. And I think the difference then comes into how well we make those changes. Let's be honest. Rassie and company panicked against England. And when they brought those changes, they might have brought it a little bit earlier. But at the end, it worked for us. So I think this time around, I think each and everyone must know when they have to come off, and they must empty the tank before halftime if they have to. Because I think we've just got it spot on by having Trevor Nyakani there.
They're saying it's such a huge risk. I don't know who is for the split. I don't know who is... does your hand go up for that one?
Toe to toe,
Yeah.
us stepping on their toes all the time. Because this is the inches we talk about all the time, the knock-on that you don't want to have. So I think this game is one where ranked number 1 and number 2 in the world. When we came into this World Cup, we had to go through number 1 to 5 in the world in order to get to the final. So we played the world rankings from number 1, number 2, number 3. So here we are now, and the 2 teams have literally found their path to the final and end up at number 1 and number 2. And Thando make a very good point in that the All Blacks had a back-to-back losses, and then it was free fall. They went out and they made sure they caused a a path of destruction all the way into the final. The semi-finals for them was like a dry run, a practice run actually. They went out, and for us it was nail-biting, heart-wrenching to get to the final. So I think between the two teams and the fact that the coach have decided for Thando's famous 7-1 split on the bench again, I think that one for me says only one thing really, is that ons gaan hard speel. We're going to go out and we're going to fight. This is going to be a fight, a dog fight pretty much.
When I come back from the break, let's talk about that dog fight. Will it be a dog fight? Because sometimes, finals. Yeah, sorry, Mana.
It must be a dog fight.
Yeah, but sometimes...
It's the last game, bro.
Usually.
Today's game,
the tactics.
England and Argentina is like you kissing your sister.
Yes.
So I'm not interested in that.
No, that's why we're not talking about it.
Okay.
So when last did you kiss your sister?
The Room Dividers is more than just analysis. It's a lifestyle. Every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m., The Room Dividers. Robert, Thando and Ashwin interrogating more than just rugby issues. Tune in on Tuesdays for the experience. Vuma FM, Rise FM and Soweto Live.
PlayTogo Online Betting has just launched new exclusive games such as Hot Games Extreme, Sahara Riches, Thunderbirds, and more. Sign up, deposit, and we'll give you a 100% bonus match up to 10,000 Rand. It's time to place your bets. Visit PlayTogo today. Complete offer at playtogo.co.za. T's and C's apply. PlayTogo is an online betting operator licensed by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. National Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008. WhatsApp help on 076 675 0710. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Buongiorno, lovers of Cadbury chocolate. You already know that your favorite chocolate is available in ice cream, right? Cadbury Ice Cream is giving you a chance to win one of 3 trips to anywhere around the world worth 100,000 Rand. To enter, buy any 2 of the Cadbury or Oreo ice creams, dial *120 *8937# and follow the prompts. T's and C's apply. Cadbury Ice Cream. You already know you're going to love it.
What does it take to be the best bucky in SA? Take it from us, the GWMP Series category winner of the inaugural SA Bucky of the Year competition, offering exceptional space, unprecedented features, smooth performance, and the best value that your money can buy. That's the P Series for you, but don't just take it from us. Start your best bucky adventure now in the GWMP Series. This month, you can buy a 4x4 for the price of a 4x2. Go to dealersys.gwm.coza for more info. T's and C's apply. GWMP Series. Power, precision, persistence.
We went from 5 scooters in Joburg to a fleet of 20 business vehicles across the country. My Way Business Insurance covers all my vehicles and goods in transit, which protects me against loss or damage of stock. Plus, I get 24/7 emergency assistance to tow, recover, and repair my vehicles. Now that's value for money.
Move for value. For a quote, visit myway.co.za today or SMS MOVE to 44430. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Imagine your perfect summer with Astron Energy. Cool outfit? Check. Incredible vibes? Check. Now imagine all of that in a cheap Wrangler. Register for Astron Energy Rewards. Fill up with Astron Energy Core Tech for 400 Rand or more, and you could win a cheap Wrangler and other awesome prizes with Astron Energy Rewards until 31 December 2023. Bring the vibes this summer with Astron Energy. T's and C's apply.
It's time to celebrate what Spar brings to your table. Look out for the talk of the table at your nearest Spar for deals unique to your community. Fill your basket and fit your budget with offers like 2-litre Spar sunflower oil, 67.99, and 1-litre Spar vanilla custard, buy 2 for 44 Rand. Activate your Spar rewards card and save even more. Valid until 7 November while stocks last. T's and C's apply. Spar, we're for smiles.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist, author of The Race to Be Myself, the one and only Caster Semenya. You are somebody that if I had to ask you a very straightforward question, the name Sebastian Coe, you know who he is?
Yes.
What do you think of him?
Nothing. He means nothing to me. He don't exist.
IAAF president.
To me, he's nobody.
Why do you think he made it his personal fight
he has no respect for women. Why is it so important to him to level women's sports? He must go fix himself. If there was any respect for women's sports, why can't he let a woman lead him? I'll end it there.
As the president
of
World Athletics.
#MSW. #MSW.
As a coaching staff, we've done everything in our powers to make sure that we're well prepared for this game, and it's something it was never a secret, If you look back from 2018, we always spoke about 2023, and a miracle happened in Japan, but yeah, it was always part of the plan to make sure that we perform and peak at the right time for this World Cup, and the preparations has been going very well. The key thing for us as a coaching staff, we had to select the best possible 23 players to be able to perform against New Zealand. They've got very, very special players in their team with a lot of X factor, and we know they want to keep the ball in play. So I think if you look at the balance, I'm talking about now with our forwards, to be able to have 7 forwards that will probably be fresh come second half, I think that was one of our key focus points, to be able to select the 7-1, and we have done it before. It worked for us once against Ireland when we lost to Ireland in our group stages. We also went for 7-1, and I feel like in that game we really, really performed well. We were just unfortunate we didn't convert into points, So I think when you look at the history, it has worked for us before. So that's why against the All Blacks, it's a key thing that you have to have fresh forwards on the field, because we know the challenges that we're going to face. It's going to be ball in play.
It's going to be ball and play. That's according to the assistant coach of the Springboks. That's Zwandile Stick. Basically saying that the team has been training since 2018 for Saturday's Rugby World Cup final. So the outcome of the Saturday game will award a 4th World Cup title to either South Africa or New Zealand. Let's give you a quick update though. They might have made life a little bit tough for themselves, haven't they, the Proteas, but still chasing that total of 271. Bit of a slower run rate, you would say, but probably expected. Against Pakistan. Some of the gentlemen here have also been keeping a very stern eye on the proceedings in the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup in India. So they need 20 runs from 50 balls. Very doable. So if you're driving, as I said, just relax. We'll tell you all about what's happening. Thando Manana, as well as Ashwin Willemse, former Springboks, a World Cup winner amongst us here. And just peeling off the words there, Mr. Manana, you were saying before the break that you are expecting the razzle-dazzle more than a boring tactical chess game of a final. Why do you say that?
Rob, I'll say we've got 2. I'm happy that Stick has noted how the All Blacks have got X-factor players. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Because then it comes to what is gold to South Africa. It's defense. Defense has been superb from the South African team. Now, when you have such a good defense, you look at the teams that we've played. We've played French. We've played the French. We've played England. We had a lot of X-factor players, Tuilagis, the Farrells, and Stewart from the back. You then go to the Irish game. Lots of X-factor players from there. Now, the attacking team has found it a bit of a problem to win against us. South Africa should have won that Irish game towards the end, but Ben O'Keefe had other means of stopping the game and blowing it in that one. So I think New Zealand phase attack prowess, brilliant. Counter attack, brilliant. But also turnover ball, or I call it turnover rugby, because that's when they go for you, because your back is facing them. Now they've got to chase. Now you don't know where they're going to go. That's where the X Factor, Mangua, Aaron Smith, there are just so many of them, Ricky Iwani, Will Jordan, Talia, and at the back, the general himself, Bowden Barrett. So I would say for South Africa, they've gone for this 7-1 split. So they anticipate that the forwards will empty the tank just before halftime so that changes could be made in the 45th or 42nd minute for the new guys to come on board.
So almost as early as the last game.
Almost early, Rob, because I think South Africa has given in already that they have to tackle. They have to really grab opportunities that come their way via points or via their driving maul, which has not been effective. They've scrummed well, but I'll take you to a game, Scotland versus South Africa. South Africa did poorly in that first half. And thankfully, we were bailed out by, once again, our reserves. We failed in the scrums dismally in the first half. And then Trevor came on board. We won a lot of penalties in the second half, which eventually we won the game comfortably. We didn't give a point away. So what I'm trying to say, Rob, is if we're going to merely depend on scrums, that's not the way to go. We've got to make sure we dominate them at line-out. We compete. We haven't been competing in the line-outs, so we've got to try and compete. I'm not sure why. Maybe because the Lord is not there, but he hasn't been there in the World Cup, and we haven't competed properly in the line-outs. So I basically feel if we get the ball, we're going to maul them, definitely. Because in Twickenham, we scored 2 tries from a 5 meter away from their try line. One was a maul, scored. One was just a peel off. And we went to score that second try, and we finished the game from there. So basically for me is that our style of rugby on Saturday tomorrow is going to be defense-driven, taking the scraps that they present to us, which is if they kick, we try and hold the ball as much as we can.
So if you're going to score against them, it's going to be lucky to score against the All Blacks. The other thing that they've shown is they can score from anywhere on the field. Pretty much, if you look at the defensive structures. So the All Blacks, they don't need an opportunity. They create opportunities for themselves. The question is, can we stop them? Can we prevent them from creating momentum, creating opportunities? Now, I think it's fair to say that the scrumming contest against the All Blacks, in my view, is one where there's no between these two teams, there's nothing to give pretty much. And I think that's going to last for the entire game. I don't think that, especially given what happened in the semi-finals, can we repeat that again? I think we have the ability to out-scrum any team in the world. But the All Blacks will be so well prepared for that moment. England was caught off guard pretty much on that scrum. That was the scrum, that the moment that changed the game was a scrum where I don't believe England anticipated what was going to come in that particular moment. So the scrum, I almost want to say it's a neutral game. The line-out is a neutral game. The defense is even Stevens. The attack is even Stevens. So pretty much what we have here is we'll have the lines. First phase, second phase. And I say Aki, when we played Ireland, and he went through from a first phase, a set phase, line out. Bandiaki got the ball and he went straight through our midfield because he could do that.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do you think that this centre pairing, do you think they're on par with Bandiaki? Do you think they can do it? So it shows we are vulnerable, as are they vulnerable, because I think that Damian de Linde has got what it takes to penetrate theirs. So the truth here really for me boils down to, between these two teams, there's going to be moments in the game where you will have a player being off guard. That's the moments where you steal that gap. And that's a half a gap you need, because thereafter you turn it into momentum. Half a meter beyond the advantage line, they have to turn around, they have to turn their backs. That's how you build on the momentum. In the set phases, we'll be lucky if we dominate any one of the set pieces. Set phases. So you get our ball. From our ball, we'll have to start to play and build momentum. And that building the phases, building momentum is really talking about the one moment, the lapse of concentration. The one moment where one of your tight forwards is a half a meter behind the other one, and that's where we get the gaps. So I'm very happy to see that the likes of a Faf has played long enough with his outside backs to be able to understand when that moment arises, because it's really the outside backs that have to call that, the communication. Last week, we hardly heard the name Jesse Kriel, because he was tackling, he was defending, he was running around, organizing defense. So you can see that defensively what we have is quality communication. And for us, I think that's what we have proven against England. A side like England that was really trying to expose us, our vulnerabilities. They have studied us. They saw we're vulnerable in the air. They saw which parts of the field they could sort of try and penetrate our defensive lines, yet they scored no tries against us. And it was the one try that made the difference in the entire game.
So when you're saying that it's even Stevens, and I picked up on that word, is that is why both of the squads have loaded on experience. So 981 caps in total that the starting 15 would have as far as the All Blacks are concerned. That for me is massive. And what does it count for this game? Let's hear, though, a lot of people are sending us their WhatsApp voice notes. Guys, listen, please send them through. This is your show tonight. This is where we sit back. This is where we share, even where we're going to be watching the game.
Robert, greet you with a good heart. And your room diviners. I can't wait to hear you. We are going to make history. This Rainbow Nation. Nay, I believe it. We are going to make history. President Ramaphosa is going to lift that cup. The same as what President Nelson Mandela did in 95. And within a month's time, we are going to lift the Cricket World Cup. Mooi bly, Ben Richter.
Ben Richter, thank you so much. Mooi bly, I love your energy. Ben, please tell us where you're going to be watching the game, man.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. It's Willemse here, and good evening to the MSW shoulders. Yeah, Rugby World Cup. Hey, it's going to be a very, very tough game. This is the truest of tests that we've faced in the World Cup. Yes, we've faced the world number one in Ireland. Yes, we've faced the host nation, France. Yes, we faced former World Cup finalists in England. But this one is the biggest of tests because, number one, this is the toughest rivalry that the Springboks have ever faced since both of the teams' inceptions. And number two, the All Blacks always bring out the best of the Springboks. So it is going to be a very, very tough game. I wouldn't want to underestimate the All Blacks because we know how good they are. Yes, they've lost the game. Yes, they come into the World Cup final limping. It's not a perfect record for them, but again, the All Blacks in the knockout phases of a Rugby World Cup is a team that you should never, ever underestimate. So it's going to be a very, very tough game. And I would love to see who's going to lift their fourth World Cup title since both teams have 3 World Cups in their name. But again, I've said before that I would love to see the Springboks successfully retain that Rugby World Cup title. Again, it's not going to be an easy match. But I think with the lineup that has been released, I think a day or two ago, it looks promising. It looks like it's a promising lineup, but again, we should expect a very, very tough test.
Tough test indeed. Lineup is great. Hulafalang, thank you so much indeed. A lot of people saying, you know what, finally, the day's arrived.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Ukhuluma nesibongeleni okamkhwani kamgaya emathafeni. Bathi Mr. Marawa akusekho ukujikela emva kwendlu. The day has arrived. Tomorrow we'll be expecting our boys to make sure that they retain their World Cup trophy in France. And I'm very confident, Mr. Marawa, that our boys will do well against New Zealand. And I wish them all the best in the final, Mr. Marawa. As South Africans, we are all behind them. As the President has said that on Monday we'll be having a holiday to welcome our boys.
Monday
Thank you,
Sunday.
Mr. Marawa. Good show.
You know, you get dribbled and they tell you that you got to go to a public holiday on a Sunday. It's already a Sunday. So what are you expecting there to be? To come back from the break, man. So many of your WhatsApp voice notes. We come back for the final push, guys. The final push. Is it going to be? I see there's a lot of biting of nails here. A lot of Mr. Manana, are you okay? You look very serious
Always
today.
Always good, Rob.
You're okay?
Rob, as you're speaking, I'm just thinking.
You can't think whilst we're going for a break.
The Room Dividers is more than just analysis. It's a lifestyle. Every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m., The Room Dividers. Robert, Thando and Ashwin interrogating more than just rugby issues. Tune in on Tuesdays for the experience. Vuma FM, Rise FM and Soweto Live.
It was pitch black when Joe took out the trash. He sidestepped Zoe's bicycle, the neighbor's cat, and the shovel. But his luck ran out when he tripped over the empty generator. When life happens, you don't need luck when you're with the medical aid that gives you value for money. Switch to BestMed, 3-time Titanium Award winner for excellence in creating access to quality healthcare. Visit bestmed.co.za. BestMed Medical Scheme is an authorized FSP.
My dad got a new car this weekend and we went out on the road. What did you do?
My dad also got a new car, but we didn't go on the road. We ran through the sand. We took the car for a swim, then we climbed over rocks.
The Nissan Navara lets you venture off any beaten track. Book a test drive, tune into 947, and you could win 10,000 Rand. Plus, buy a Navara double cab this month, and you could win the grand prize of 100,000 Rand. T's and C's apply. Nissan, dare to move.
You've been waiting and waiting, holding onto your old device, holding out for a smartphone that can do a whole lot more. Finally, here's a powerful phone that also packs an epic camera, slick design, and a seamless ecosystem. The new Galaxy S23 FE lets you join the Galaxy S family and enjoy the amazing benefits. So one final question, are you ready? The new Galaxy S23 FE. Epic starts here. Buy yours now.
The Sex Expo is back. 4 fun-filled days of sexy shopping and sizzling entertainment from the 26th to the 29th of October at Gallagher Convention Center. It's classy, fun, and seductive. See Picasso, stage shows, curated galleries, body art, exciting exhibits, interactive workshops, and so much more. Thursday the 26th to Sunday the 29th at Gallagher. Open till late. First 100 ladies get a free gift. Visit thesexexpo.com.
This is not me reading a script about Spur's new nothing but cheddar melt deal. It's my AI voice doing the work for me because I'm at Spur. Smiley face, enjoying their incredible cheddar melt offer of a crumb chicken schnitzel or 200-gram rump or sirloin, topped with cheddar cheese and mushroom sauce and served with Spur-style crispy onion rings and chips for just $134.90. Now that's real value, even if I say so myself. On behalf of myself, pause, T's and C's apply. Spur, people with a taste for life.
A massive share of 3 million Rand is up for grabs in the Hollywood Bet Spinner Zonke jackpot race. Spin for 2 Rand or more between 8:30 and 10:30 every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Mani Libbok beats it and sends it through the middle.
I mean, what an honor to have the one and only Brayton Bolser. Mani Libbok, for me, a fantastic player. Outstanding. He does things that a lot of players in the world cannot do.
His mentality is of such, and I spoke to him before, and his coach, John Dobson, because I couldn't understand why this guy, he will miss 2 kicks, and the next thing he does something brilliant that leads to a try. So Mani Libbok's psychology, or his psyche as a player and a human being, he's got the ability to block out a negative thing right there and then, and just move on to the next thing. That's why Rassie Erasmus is still playing Mani Libbok today.
That is crazy.
It's unbelievable. I would say box by between 7 and 9.
Between 7 and 9.
Yeah.
There it is! South African hands aloft.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Rugby analysis needs a reset. The Room Dividers, Robert Marawa, Thando Manana, and Ashwin Willemse supply us with sophisticated, hardcore statistical analysis that opens up the game of rugby. Every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. The Room Dividers is back on hashtag MSW on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live.
Hi Marawa, umkhumbi kwa Khumalolo. Let me also greet you as well as the shareholders. Marawa, the expectation is very simple. Maybe one should look at the end result of it. I wish and I hope that Usia Kolisi will lift the cup and we will bring the cup back home, defending our cup anyway. I expect us to play not beautiful rugby, but effective one. that will yield results. My worry though is that we tend to pick up very late, having those scrappy wins, and I know some people will say that's professional rugby, but playing the way that we played against England and against France, we may not be able to come back from the likes of New Zealand. Therefore, I expect that Bong Bonambi will start as usual. Oxinje will also start. I think once we set there, then we will have that kind of oomph and power, because for me that is manekrach that we need to go forward. I don't expect us to play beautiful rugby, but I expect that it will yield results that we desire as a nation. Ngiyabonga baba.
Mkhumbi Khumalo, krach, not beautiful rugby, but winning rugby.
Evening, Rob. What a touching intro by Ashwin. And I don't know, Rob, what goes through your mind and the team when you guys selected these gentlemen, because for me, they have been very exceptional, giving us the insights and also giving us from the players' perspective, having walked the journey as players and having been part of the winning teams, Rob, because for me, you also need those people who can bring in the emotions from the personal perspective to also enable us to understand what is possibly going to unfold tomorrow when the Springboks takes on the All Blacks. And for me, Rob, I just want to wish the Springboks all the best, and I know that we're going to emerge victorious. Thank you so much.
Tebogo, thank you so much indeed. Our absolute pleasure. The room dividers, who knows? They're saying from tomorrow they're going on strike. You're never going to hear from them ever again.
Evening, Big Rob, and evening to the room dividers, rugby analyst Thando Manana and Sir Ashwin Willemse. Marawa, for tomorrow's game, I'm just expecting a dogfight, as the people are saying. Just want to ask Thando Manana and Ashwin Willemse, do they think that Trevor Nyakane is up to speed in terms of fitness? I know that he'll come on in the second half, but will he maintain maybe the bar that the current or the starting forward line would have put? Will Trevor Nyakane keep that standard? Don't you think maybe rustiness will come into play? So that's my question to the room dividers analysts. Thank you, Mr. Marawa.
Thank you so much indeed. I think it's a legit question. One thing that the coaches always emphasize is that every single day, every one of them who've been selected, including Lukhanyo Am, are training like they're going to be playing tomorrow. So there is no exception. Kenan Moody, same thing. He's training like he's going to be playing tomorrow. Trevor Nyakane and Nyaga, we're all excited to see him back. You said you were excited to see him back. How do you answer that question?
Rob, is very plain simple. Trevor Nyakane, it's his third World Cup, in fact.
Yeah.
2019, he got injured in the game against the All Blacks and he had to come back home. Now he gets an opportunity to play in the final. Not because he missed the entire 2019 post that injury, but I've always felt that he always deserved to start. I feel if you bring them on, him and Ox and Bongi, they've just got a brilliant chemistry in terms of just taking an opposition and destroying that. So Vincent Koch coming on, I question his ability coming on. I think Vincent Koch, for me personally, has always had a nice one of playing with top quality players behind him, Eben, Maro Itoje, Saracens and so forth. But Nyaka has proven himself throughout, whether he was at the Cheetahs, at the Bulls, and then therefore going to Montpellier. But for me, I personally feel is probably, at one stage, he was probably the only player that excelled at loose head and at tight head. That's one. So he can play both positions, and be on par against any opposition in the world. So I think Rassi, it's a master stroke. He knows what he's going to get from Trevor. But I think also in terms of his loose play, vital tackles that are needed, he brings that extra a little bit than just carrying the ball. Defense is good, scrummaging is good, and also support. It's what's going to be needed. I think, Rob, you must understand the selection. The selection is based on Miele. I mean, that question, if you can also well as ask on Jasper Visa, for example. Jasper Visa hasn't played for like 4 weeks to 5 weeks. So that question should not be only for Trevor Nyakane. It should merely be, okay, let's question Jasper Visa. He comes in, when last did he play for the Springbok in the World Cup? So for me, entirely, this is a nicely selected forward seven that will take on the All Blacks from the bench. They know what their core duties are. I think in terms of Jean Klein, he will come in place of Eben Etzebeth. But I personally feel R.G. Snyman could come in early this time around because Mostert, when I say Mossy, hasn't really, performed to the likes of him taking and having ownership of that number 5 jersey. It's a pity that he can't start. I think he's more dominant as a replacement lock, but I think R.G. Snyman has been exceptional in this World Cup.
Guys, let's also not lose sight of the fact that we crossing our fingers here and we also watching a World Cup of a different kind. I mean, yeah, we need 9 runs from 26 balls. We just lost about a minute ago. Lungingiti managed 4 runs from 14 deliveries. But right now it's 263 for 9. Target is 271. I don't know. Thando, you've been watching this very closely, Ashwin as well. But we'll keep you up to date. That's all I'm saying is that before 7 o'clock, this thing should be done and dusted. I don't know. Someone just needs
tense nerves. It's like, this past 3 weeks have just been like a nail-biting affair.
But it's good. It's good for the heart. Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard, I see them reunited in the halves for the very first time since the 2022 Rugby Championship against Australia.
Reunited.
Yeah.
Feels so good. So I think for South Africa, Rassie had 7-1 split, and I think then you go for your halfback combination.
Yeah.
He's done that. Right? It's a winning combination, as we all know. So, a pity for Manie Libbok. I think Manie Libbok has been, the TikTok moment of the World Cup is, to Manie Libbok. So, what a talent he is. And unfortunately, in this game, 7-1 split, if he had to choose a flower, he's going to go with Andre Pollard, which,
Well,
I
let's
don't think anyone...
congratulate him.
Yes, congratulations. There's nothing...
He's nominated.
Yes, for Breakthrough Player of the Year.
He's nominated.
So Thando has touched on the front row. He's highlighted the lock pairing, and I think that's really, and we haven't put much emphasis on it, but Eben Franco and Brodie Retallick and Scott Barrett, I think therein really lies so if the game can be won or lost somewhere, I think it will be the work rate both in the scrums and the line out, but also in general play. How hard does an Eben go and hit the rucks? If you think about an Eben up against a Retallick, how hard do they play in the rucks and the mauls? How quickly do they get there? How the tackles that they make? So I think between the two lock pairings, that's also where there's a potential advantage for whoever works the hardest on the day. I think that speaks to Thando's point as well. The New Zealand bench, Damien McKenzie, Anton Leonard-Brown. These are 2 players devastating on attack. So I think in the latter part of the game, if they were to come on, this is potentially where New Zealand may sort of find a gap in when it comes to the Springbok defense. But I really think if you look at the lock pairing, because oftentimes, we look at locks for lineouts.
Yeah.
But in general play, and you see, there's arguably the greatest lock pairing of all time in rugby history. If you look at a Victor Matfield, a Bakkies Botha, the red heart pitch. So if we talk about harde manne.
Yeah.
There you've seen a combination where the one is the workhorse and the other one is dominating every line out, but together as a combination, you feel their impact both in the tight phases and in the loose play. And I think for us, the lock pairing is really where we can potentially make a difference.
Yeah, I think we're all just looking around here. There's a review currently underway. The entire team on their feet at the grandstand. It's a tight margin, but while we wait for that decision, though, it's a big moment. It's a big moment for a captain like Siya Kolisi, who could make history on his own. And maybe he is just outlining how important tomorrow is.
I don't think it's stuff that you can dream about because it doesn't happen often. I don't think it will happen in our lifetime again to have 2 teams like this. And we've prepared as hard as we can, and we know what to expect. Obviously, they might have some new things coming, but I think for a player to be playing in a game like this, I don't think it will ever get any bigger. So we're excited. We're looking forward to it. We know how good they are and how good they've been. A couple of months ago, they were going through a tough patch, and that's how good of a team they are. That's how proud they are of their team. They just turned it around quietly behind the scenes. They were doing their work, and now they're here. So I'm looking forward to it. And we've had to find our way too, you know, and the way that the coaches went the last year or so, we've played over maybe 50 players to try and find the best. Even the guys that are not here, I think they will be prepared to come and fill in this day. So I'm looking forward to Saturday. I don't think it will ever get bigger than this. It will probably be the biggest game of my life.
Biggest game of his life. What does the coach say?
I remember running in this after the victory. We were all in the streets in South Africa, in Bloemfontein. I was at uni back then. And sorry, your other part? Oh, yes, I have. I have watched it recently. I would say probably a year ago. And the 95 one, and yes, it's amazing how the game has changed. I mean, I think there was, I can't remember. I think there was over 80 kicks in that game, and the scrums, there wasn't the halfbacks could break off. The loose forwards could break off after the engagement, and the offside lines were at the 8 man's feet. So. The amazing thing is how they got their kicks away. I thought, because the loose forwards, after they engaged, they were off. They didn't need to stay bound to the scrum, and then the back line was on the 8 man, so there wasn't 10 meters of space, and they played with a leather ball, and so it was that was quite amazing to see. Yeah, so now I watched it in terms of that, but. And there wasn't any lifting in the line out, so there's a lot of differences back then. The game has really changed a lot, and I think if you go back at that game, I think the ball in play was under 24 minutes, so there wasn't literally no rugby. It was just set piece after set piece after set piece. So yeah, I think the game is far better product now than it was back then. Not taking anything away, because that's just obviously there's a lot of technical stuff that comes into the game and a lot of money, and it became professional after that.
Jacques Ninaba, I mean, for him as well, what this moment signifies as Pakistan 1 wicket away. We were talking about our wild swing. No, that didn't go for the boundary. Maybe they just went for a single. Gentlemen, as we multitask here, I don't know what else we need for South African sport for it to be cleaner. For our hearts. Guys, I don't know. I've got to get for a prediction from both of you gentlemen. We only have literally a minute left for us to say goodbye. And from the bottom of my heart, I need to thank both of you for taking your time, bringing us your expert analysis on board with the Room Dividers as the Room Dividers yourselves. And I don't know. I'll take your predictions.
Can I start first? Because you normally knock me off before I'm finished. Can I go first?
Whoever gets it right.
No, I want to go first now because you normally switch me off.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you deserve it. Go ahead.
Rob, South Africa needs to stick to the plan. Processes got them to the final. Remember that. He didn't get there, like Sia said, probably his biggest. He knows how he got there. So they have to stick to the plan. And the plan is very simple. Keep New Zealand at bay. New Zealand will rely heavily on their skill set, continuity, which is the ultimate for them. They can score from any angle. They can change the game in a second. So this is the first time that will be tested. I said earlier on, there's a reason why I started with defense. We've got to be defensively. We've got to be 100%. We've got to kill that flatness.
That's why I cut you off. Prediction, sir.
Springboks by 6.
Box by 6. Ashwin, Willemse.
On one, we all go together. Go Bokke. 3, 2, 1.
Prediction.
Go Bokke!
Prediction.
That's a prediction.
Rob, you're not cutting him off. You're not cutting him off.
You cut him off on my behalf.
Bokke.
Right.
You cut him off on my behalf.
One team.
What's a
one
score,
nation. The Bokke coming home by a quarter of a point, a half a point, ons vat hom.
Half a point?
Skak en bataal, Boetie. Skak en bataal.
Hey? By what point? Give me a final. What point?
No, Rob. The points doesn't matter in this game. It's about winning the game in this one. So
about winning the game.
There's only one team. It's the winning team.
All right. It's the winning team. Ladies and gentlemen, Springboks, good luck. And one thing I can tell you is that we are 5 from 19 balls from winning. I don't even want to know what's going on there. But hey, guys, good luck.
#MSW.